I had moved mountains to elevate my girlfriend, Qian, into a celebrated traffic flower, a rising starlet basking in the blinding flash of internet fame. Yet, in a heartbeat, she turned and, hand in hand with Chu Yi, her co-star, they sealed their on-screen romance with a very real kiss, broadcast for all to see on Weibo. The caption dripped with saccharine sweetness. Love blossomed on set. Ship us with confidence, everyone. Betrayal clawed at my throat, choking me. I sought her out, desperation lending speed to my feet, only to be met with her venomous accusation. Stalker. Her rabid CP fans, whipped into a frenzy, became judge, jury, and executioner. Sulfuric acid seared my skin, and then the sickening thud of tires, again and again, as a car reversed and drove forward, repeatedly, until my world dissolved into blackness. Then, oblivion. I awoke to my mother's heart-wrenching cries, her arms cradling my broken body. Through a haze of pain, I saw Chu Yi sneer down at us, his polished shoe connecting with my mother's face, the sickening crunch of bone echoing in the sterile air. A family of pathetic simps who can't grasp reality. He spat, his voice laced with contempt. Then, darkness again. But this time, the darkness receded, replaced by the pale light of dawn filtering through familiar curtains. I gasped, bolting upright in bed. Disorientation warred with a terrifying sense of déjà vu. Had it all been a nightmare? Gubei, is breakfast ready yet? Su Qian's voice, sharp and impatient, sliced through the morning quiet. I froze, my heart hammering against my ribs. I stared at her doorway, then down at my own trembling hands, miraculously whole. If the searing pain weren't so vivid in my memory, I'd have dismissed it all as a nightmare. Clang! My grip faltered, and a bowl shattered on the kitchen tiles, shards scattering like fallen stars. Clumsy oaf. Su Qian's voice dripped with undisguised disgust as she finally entered the kitchen, her perfect features marred by a frown. Forget breakfast. Just drive me to the studio. Filming raps today. Rap day? The words echoed in my mind, heavy with dread. Today, the day of her public betrayal. The day of my agonizing death. What are you gaping at? Su Qian took a step back, wrinkling her nose in exaggerated distaste. Reeking of grease. Go change. Now. Don't you have an assistant for this? Why is it always me? The question tumbled out before I could bite it back, raw and laced with years of suppressed resentment. Su Qian's perfectly sculpted eyebrows arched in surprise. In the previous timeline, I would never have dared to question her. A mere flick of her wrist, and I would have sprung into action, smoothing her path, anticipating her every whim. A devoted, unquestioning servant. What's gotten into you today? A mirthless smile touched Su Qian's lips, her eyes cold and assessing. Did you suddenly forget your role? Dare to question your master's orders? She stalked closer, her perfectly manicured fingers curling around the collar of my worn t-shirt, her grip surprisingly strong. I tell you to drive, you drive. I tell you to jump, you ask how high. Got it, dog. A bitter laugh escaped my lips, tinged with self-loathing. This was the woman I had worshipped for 6 years? The woman I had placed on a pedestal, only to be treated like dirt beneath her Louboutins. Gubei, you utter fool. It was clear as day. She was done with me, ready to kick me to the curb, and no longer bothering with even a pretense of affection. What are you laughing at? Su Qian's eyes narrowed, a flicker of something sharp and dangerous in their depths. Then, the practice softening, the weapon she knew always worked. Are you trying to break up with me? In the past, that threat had been her ultimate trump card. Any hint of displeasure, any veiled threat of leaving, and I would crumble, instantly surrendering. Her chin lifted, a smug confidence radiating from her. She waited, certain of my inevitable apology, my groveling reassurances. Fine, let's break up. The words were out before I could fully process them, propelled by a sudden surge of defiance, of self-preservation. Let's see if destiny, or whatever cruel cosmic joke this was, would dare to deviate from its script. Su Qian blinked, momentarily stunned. Then, her flawless face cleared, a dismissive understanding dawning in her eyes. Gubei, is this some new persona you're trying out? Channeling Chu Yi's cold, aloof vibe? Just to get my attention? Chu Yi. His name jolted me, a fresh wave of anger washing over me. I had almost forgotten the architect of my demise. Too bad. Su Qian continued, her voice laced with saccharine cruelty. No matter how hard you try to imitate him, you'll never be him. Her gaze raked over me, contempt twisting her beautiful features. Because, darling, humans and dogs are fundamentally different. With a final, withering look, she turned on her heel, her hips swaying with practiced elegance as she swept out the door. Over her shoulder, she tossed one last barb. Aren't you even going to bark goodbye, puppy? I watched her retreating back, my fists clenched, fighting down the urge to lash out, to shatter that porcelain perfection. She has no idea, I thought, a cold resolve hardening my heart. Dogs that don't bark, they bite the hardest. I changed clothes with a newfound urgency, adrenaline coursing through my veins. My mother. I had to get to her. The birthday banquet was being held at the Grand Hyatt. My mother, a woman of quiet grace, had always eschewed lavish displays. Even for her 60th birthday, she had insisted on a small, intimate gathering, just a few close friends. Stepping into the brightly lit ballroom, spotting my mother amidst the small gathering, a lump formed in my throat, and tears pricked at my eyes. She looked radiant, impeccably dressed, her face alight with her signature gentle smile. A stark contrast to the bloodied, broken image that haunted my nightmares. She had always been supportive of my relationship with Qian, despite the obvious disparity in their backgrounds. If you're happy, I'm happy, she'd always said, even pulling out treasured family heirlooms, whispering about them being perfect as betrothal gifts for Qian. Big boy, why the waterworks all of a sudden? My mother's voice, warm and familiar, broke through my reverie. She reached out, her soft hand cupping my cheek. Did you and Qian have another tiff? The day had only just begun, the air still holding the cool breath of night, and my mother, bless her oblivious heart, was likely still blissfully unaware of the online storm brewing, of Qian's very public declaration of love for another man. Is she not coming to see me? My mother's voice held a hint of wistfulness, but she quickly rallied, patting my arm reassuringly. These young people's affairs are beyond me. If the girl feels pressured by meeting the parents, then you too just date longer. Mom will just have to keep these gifts locked away a little longer. The words "she's not worthy" clawed at my throat, but I swallowed them down. My mother, thank God, was untouched by the horrors of the previous timeline. Why burden her with pain she didn't remember? This time, she deserved peace. She deserved to enjoy her birthday, to embark on that long-dreamed-of world cruise. The ugliness, the vengeance, that was my burden to bear. It's nothing, Mom. I gently steered her away from the topic, forcing a smile. You go entertain your friends. I'll just mingle. What are you doing here? Qian's voice, laced with ice, cut through the hum of polite conversation. I stiffened, turning to face her. I hadn't expected them to be at the same hotel, hadn't even considered the possibility of crossing paths. Qian grabbed my arm, dragging me towards a secluded alcove, her eyes flashing with accusation. Are you stalking me? Gubei, I am truly disgusted by you. I've already gone public with someone else, and you still resort to these pathetic, underhanded tactics. Do you have zero self-respect? Chu Yi and I are hosting a CP fan meet and greet upstairs. If you dare to cause trouble, you'll regret it. A chilling realization dawned. The parking garage, the rabid fans. It all clicked into place. A humorless laugh bubbled up from my chest. You think I came here for your little fan club meeting? Isn't that obvious? Hardly. My voice dripped with disdain. The sheer audacity of her assumptions, the ingrained expectation of my pathetic devotion, it was infuriating. We broke up this morning, I stated, my voice cold and devoid of emotion. And since you're now publicly entangled with Chu Yi, maybe try to keep your hands off other men. Wouldn't want to jeopardize the opportunity you so eagerly seized. You. Qian's hand flashed out, aiming for my face. Keep your filthy mouth shut. I instinctively flinched, turning my head away. Her momentum carried her forward, and she stumbled, her perfectly balanced poise momentarily disrupted. Did you sleep with him? The question was out before I could stop it, raw and desperate. In the previous life, clinging to a naive hope that it was all a publicity stunt, I had followed her to the hotel where the drama series was filming. The confirmation had been brutal. Qian, emerging from Chu Yi's room, her dress ripped, his bathrobe hanging loosely open. Before I could even stammer out a question, Qian had launched her preemptive strike, the breakup. Chu Yi, ever the arrogant peacock, had simply sneered. We did. So what? Back in university, Qian had been the undisputed campus belle, a magnet for admirers. Even I, usually shy and reserved, had dared to pursue her, drawn in by her dazzling beauty and seemingly effortless charm. To help her realize her acting dreams, I had pulled every string, leveraged every connection, pouring my family's resources into securing auditions, landing roles, crafting her image, building her brand. She had often spoken of a talented junior, Chu Yi, suggesting we take him under our wing, a casual act of charity. Unsuspecting, I had readily agreed, seeing it as a minor favor. But after a few moderately successful dramas, she had been quick to publicly align herself with Chu Yi, painting a narrative of shared struggle, of mutual ambition, of love blossoming amidst the harsh realities of the entertainment industry. The public had lapped it up, weeping over their fairy tale romance, blissfully unaware that their shared dream had been bankrolled entirely by my family's fortune. The memory ignited a cold fury within me. Spending my money to sleep with another man? My voice was low, dangerous. I pinned her with a glacial stare. Even in business, there's an expectation of value for investment. Aren't you worried your sugar daddy might get displeased? Might decide to cut his losses? Qian threw back her head and laughed, a brittle, mocking sound. You think your pathetic little allowance can control me? Please. You know, Gubei, you're suffocating. A man with no ambition, no drive, just orbiting around me like a lovesick puppy. Any woman would get sick of that. My hands trembled. All those years of devotion, of sacrifice, of what I thought was unwavering love, twisted into weapons to wound me. Gubei, what's keeping you? The banquet is starting. My mother's voice, laced with gentle concern, drifted towards us. Seeing her approach, a primal instinct surged within me. Memories of her broken body, of Chu Yi's brutal kick, flashed before my eyes. I instantly moved, placing myself protectively in front of her. Qian, never having met my mother, her curiosity piqued by my sudden protectiveness, peered around me. Then, her eyes widened, a cruel amusement flickering across her face. Gubei, she drawled, her voice laced with false sweetness. Now I understand. No wonder you don't work. Daddy's money, huh? Turns out you're just another kept boy toy. Her gaze shifted between my mother and me, a nasty smirk playing on her lips. Guess you really do love playing the dog, don't you? First a sugar baby, then my pet lapdog. Qian's voice had dropped to a conspiratorial whisper, too low for my mother to fully hear. Confused, my mother stepped forward, emerging from behind me. Her eyes landed on Qian, and her face lit up with delighted recognition. Qian. My mother pushed past me, her hand reaching out, clasping Qian's. It's so wonderful to finally meet you. I was worried you wouldn't be able to make it. Qian, oblivious to any prior arrangements, her mind already wiped clean of promises made to insignificant underlings, stared blankly at my mother. Her brow furrowed in confusion. Are you a fan? Her gaze flicked dismissively between my mother and me. My mother beamed, oblivious to the insult. Oh, your dramas. I don't usually watch much, but Gubei has been recommending them. Qian's practiced, saccharine smile vanished, replaced by a mask of cold disdain. You said young people's dramas, Chu Yi interjected, stepping forward, his hands shoved deep into his pockets, his gaze raking over my mother's elegant, age-appropriate attire. Old woman. His tone dripped with contempt. My mother's face paled, the light in her eyes dimming. I surged forward, pulling her protectively behind me. Watch your mouth, you arrogant prick. Why are you still defending her? Qian's face hardened, her beauty contorted by malice. Her eyes locked onto my mother, her voice dripping with venom. You old hag. Still trying to parade yourself around at your age. Shameless. My mother's hand tightened on my arm, her silent plea echoing in her tear-filled eyes. Please don't make a scene. Trying to leave? Chu Yi sneered, stepping into our path, blocking our escape. He gestured dismissively, and several burly figures materialized from the edges of the room, surrounding us, their faces hard, their eyes cold. Bodyguards. Fear flickered in my mother's eyes, but she straightened her spine, her voice trembling slightly but firm. We are guests here. I am Gubei's mother. Chu Yi chuckled, a cruel, humorless sound. He reached out, his fingers pinching my mother's chin, tilting her face up for his inspection. Well, you certainly could be his mother. Gubei, you really have questionable taste. Seeing my mother humiliated, a white-hot rage erupted within me. I lunged forward, struggling against the bodyguard's iron grip. Chu Yi grabbed a fistful of my hair, yanking my head back, pain exploding behind my eyes. You want to save this old woman, puppy? There is a way. He pointed a polished black shoe at my face. Get down. Lick the dirt off my shoe, like a good dog. Then, maybe, just maybe, I'll let you both go. A chorus of mocking laughter erupted from the bodyguards. Tears streamed down my mother's face. You are both famous actors, idols to millions. Do you really think you can behave like this? Don't you care about your public image? Image? Chu Yi scoffed, as if the word itself was absurd. Who's going to see? There's no one else here. Qian chimed in, her voice dripping with disdain. And even if someone did see, my fans are blindly loyal. I could tell them to attack, and they'd attack. They worship me. I'm practically a goddess to them. Really? I stared at the discreet red light blinking faintly on the wall-mounted camera, then subtly gestured towards its location with a flick of my wrist. Almost as if on cue, a phalanx of Gu's family, security personnel, previously strategically positioned and waiting for my signal, surged into the room. The tables turned in an instant. Suddenly, it was Qian and Chu Yi who were surrounded, their faces paling as they found themselves pinned and helpless. I stared at the subdued pair, Qian's earlier words echoing in my mind. I could tell them to attack, and they'd attack. Could it be? Had the crazed fan from the previous timeline not been a random act of fanaticism, but a carefully orchestrated attack directed by Qian and Chu Yi themselves? But why? Why such hatred, such violence? After years of my unwavering support, my endless generosity, what had I done to warrant such brutal animosity, such a desire for my destruction? The phantom pain of my previous death flared, a searing agony that threatened to overwhelm me. I swayed, dizziness washing over me. My mother, her face etched with worry, steadied me, her arm a comforting weight around my waist. She misinterpreted my distress, seeing it as heartbreak, as the crushing weight of Qian's betrayal. She knew, perhaps better than anyone, the depth of my devotion, the countless sacrifices I had made for Qian. Just last week, we had been excitedly discussing engagement rings, planning our future. She looked at the grim-faced security detail, then back at me, her eyes filled with a gentle plea. She waved a dismissive hand. Let them go. I tried to protest, to argue, but the searing pain in my throat, the lingering trauma, choked the words in my chest. My mother, sensing my unspoken objection, squeezed my hand reassuringly. The room is full of my guests, old friends. Let's not create a spectacle here. We can deal with this later. Chu Yi, his gag ripped off, spat a mouthful of saliva onto the polished floor. Don't think you've won just because you have more goons. I'm telling you, we have thousands of loyal fans upstairs, and they'll be here any minute. They'll make you wish you were never born. You'll be social media roadkill. Qian, shaking off the restraining hands of the security personnel, straightened her designer jacket, her eyes flashing with venom. Don't touch me. I can walk myself. They stalked away, a pathetic little entourage of bruised egos and dwindling bodyguards, heading back towards their fan meeting, blissfully unaware that their earlier performance of entitled cruelty, every sneer and every threat, had been meticulously recorded and was already hurtling through the digital stratosphere. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Hashtags trended. Hashtag innocent flower strikes. Hashtag Qian cheats. Hashtag Chu Yi forces Neil. Hashtag CP fans are side chick fans. The fan meet and greet, once a carefully curated celebration of manufactured romance, devolved into chaos as attendees, phones buzzing with notifications, stumbled upon the leaked video. Demands for explanations, for apologies, echoed through the room. Qian, retreating to the backstage area, her carefully constructed facade crumbling, frantically dialed my number. Gu Bei, is this you? Are you trying to ruin my career? Take down those search results now. A cold, mirthless smile touched my lips. So ingrained was her entitlement, so automatic her expectation of my subservience. Did she really think I was still that pathetic lapdog, panting to obey her every command, rushing to salvage her tarnished image? Her image? She hadn't given a damn about her image when she was spewing venom, when she was ordering my humiliation. Now, with her true colors splashed across every screen, now she cared about appearances. And this pathetic video was just the appetizer. Gu Bei, you deliberately provoked me, then secretly filmed it all. Don't think this cheap trick will destroy me. Qian's voice rose to a screech. Just because your face and your mother's are conveniently blurred in the video doesn't mean I can't expose you. My gaze softened as it rested on my mother, surrounded by her laughing, oblivious friends, celebrating her birthday. This time, I vowed silently, clenching my fists. This time, she will have her day. Ignoring Su Qian's increasingly hysterical ranting, I disconnected the call and swiftly dialed my secretary's number. Chun, there are a few more things I need you to do. The fan meet and greet, now a disaster unfolding in real time, had been hastily repurposed into a live stream damage control session. Su Qian, a chameleon of calculated charm, had already undergone a rapid transformation. Gone was the bold red lipstick, the sharp, predatory angles. In its place, a carefully crafted image of fragile innocence, of wounded purity, complete with artfully smudged eyeliner and a trembling lower lip. Her voice, choked with manufactured emotion, wafted through the speakers. I don't know what to say. That man. He was a stalker. He suddenly appeared at the hotel, harassing me. He even tried to assault me. I was just scared. I lost my temper. I said things I regret. Tears, perfectly timed and glistening, traced delicate paths down her cheeks. Chu Yi, ever the knight in shining armor, stepped forward, wrapping a protective arm around her trembling shoulders. This man is a dangerous obsessive fan. He's been harassing Qian for months, even spreading malicious rumors, claiming I was a homewrecker. We considered going to the police, but Qian, bless her kind heart, refused. She said arresting him would ruin his life. She didn't want that. Chu Yi, please, don't. Su Qian sniffled delicately, burying her face in his chest. But I never imagined my silence would lead to such a misunderstanding. Regardless, losing my temper was wrong. I set a bad example. I sincerely apologize. On cue, Su Qian straightened, her shoulders slumping with manufactured contrition. Through her carefully crafted tears, she offered a deep, shaky bow to the camera. The chat box erupted. A tidal wave of digitally manufactured sympathy washed over the screen. Protect our precious Qian. If I ever see that stalker trash, he's going down. I was wondering why they went public now. Turns out Chu Yi was willing to sacrifice his career to protect his girlfriend. My heart. I'm shipping them even harder now. If someone harassed my girlfriend like that, kneeling would be the least of his worries. I'd kick his teeth in and call it self-defense. OMG, people, think about it. A stalker incident, leading to a public declaration of love? Hero saves damsel. This is romance goals. The tide of public opinion had, once again, been expertly manipulated. The narrative was shifting, twisting, molding itself to Su Qian's carefully crafted victimhood. The vitriol, however, hadn't vanished. It had simply been redirected. Towards me. Who is this garbage even? Daring to even look at our goddess. Can't even see his face clearly in the video, but you can just smell the loser stench radiating off him. Looks like something that crawled out of a sewer. Croak, croak. Hey, sewer vermin have more dignity. Don't insult the amphibians. Seriously though, he got off light. Should have been stabbed. End of story. The digital mob was gathering momentum, their virtual pitchforks and torches raised. Then, a discordant note pierced through the manufactured symphony of sympathy. Wait, has anyone seen the new trending searches? Apparently, the stalker guy is actually Su Qian's ex-boyfriend from university. Several gossip blogs, opportunistic vultures circling the digital carcass of Su Qian's reputation, had unearthed old university photos, grainy snapshots of a younger, happier Su Qian, arm in arm with me. Am I seeing things? Doesn't the side profile of the stalker guy look awfully familiar? Police. Su Qian said she and Chu Yi have been together since college. Has to be Chu Yi. No offense to Chu Yi stans, but your precious Chu Yi isn't that tall, is he? Did he get plastic surgery and have his legs shortened for his debut? The carefully curated CP fantasy, the self-contained ecosystem of devoted fans, was breached. Outsiders, drawn by the scent of scandal, were flooding in. The carefully suppressed whispers were growing louder, bolder, more insistent. Guys, I went to university with Su Qian. And yeah, her boyfriend back then definitely wasn't Chu Yi. So what if she dated other people? Are modern women supposed to be branded scarlet letters for having a past? No, dating is fine. But wasn't your pure, innocent white lotus claiming Chu Yi was her first love? Exactly. Lying is kind of not okay, right? Ex-boyfriend gets labeled a stalker and publicly humiliated. Classy move. The CP fans, usually a formidable force of digital warriors, found themselves overwhelmed, outmaneuvered, outnumbered by the sudden influx of skeptical outsiders, of outraged onlookers. The carefully constructed narrative was crumbling, the cracks widening, the foundations giving way. Seeing the tide turning, sensing the shift in momentum, Chu Yi subtly signaled to Qian. She understood instantly. With a dramatic gasp, she swayed, her eyes rolling back in her head. She crumpled to the floor in a perfectly executed feint. Qian's collapsed. Pity, fear, outrage, the perfect catalyst. Seeing their goddess stricken, the CP fans, Qian's loyal devotees, erupted in a renewed frenzy of righteous indignation. The focus shifted, the target realigned. Back to me. I saw someone who looked like that stalker guy just now on my way in. He's still in the hotel. Me too. I saw him downstairs. OMG, he's still here? The audacity. Let's go get him. Let's teach him a lesson he won't forget. Downstairs, the birthday banquet continued in full swing, oblivious to the drama unfolding above. A man, around 50 years old and radiating refined charm, approached my mother and me, a wine glass in hand. Mrs. Gu, happy birthday. His demeanor was elegant, his movements polished. My mother clinked glasses with him. Director Zhao, it's been a while. Please, call me Xiao Zhao, Director Zhao said, a touch of awkwardness in his voice, but he pressed on, regarding the investment in my new film that you mentioned from Gu Corporation. My mother glanced at me, a hint of embarrassment in her eyes. In my past life, to promote Qian, I'd frequently leveraged Gu Corporation's position as an investor to push directors to consider her. When news broke that Director Zhao, a luminary in the industry, was preparing to shoot a new film, I had automatically started maneuvering to get Qian involved. While the lead role was beyond her grasp, a well-written supporting character with good screen time would be a decent stepping stone to boost her visibility. But now, everything was different. I stood up, meeting Director Zhao's gaze. Director Zhao, you are a leader in the industry. Gu Corporation would be honored to collaborate with you. The investment remains unchanged. Director Zhao smiled, a polite but expectant expression on his face, waiting for the inevitable but. I finished my wine in one smooth gulp. Pleasure doing business with you. Just like that, Director Zhao asked, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. He had heard whispers about the Gu Corporation air pushing. A certain actress, one he personally felt lacked acting chops. He had braced himself for the investor forcing a casting decision. Just like that, I confirmed with unwavering certainty. Director Zhao visibly relaxed, a sigh of relief escaping his lips. I hope we have many more opportunities to collaborate in the future. Director Zhao, after the cake cutting, would you mind waiting for a few more minutes? I have some other projects I'd like to discuss with you. I added. Of course, I'd be happy to. Cake cutting. My mother looked puzzled. Aren't there still a few more segments in the schedule? I checked my watch. The priority now was to get my mother away from this hotel as quickly as possible. Simplifying the schedule was necessary. Your son has prepared another surprise for you elsewhere, I reassured her, forcing a smile. So we need to move things along here. Nearby, Chun had arrived, catching my eye and giving a subtle nod. Everything was in place, the stage was set. All that was left was for the prey to walk into the trap. As the familiar notes of Happy Birthday filled the ballroom, a magnificent three-tiered castle cake was wheeled in. Watching my mother close her eyes, a serene smile gracing her lips as she made her birthday wish amidst the chorus of blessings, a pang of emotion tightened my chest. In my previous life, I had caused her so much heartache for that woman, Qian. I had been utterly unfilial, utterly foolish. From this day forward, my family would always come first. As I helped my mother and the guests into the prearranged cars, the commotion outside the banquet hall grew louder, more insistent. The hotel manager, his face etched with anxiety, rushed over to apologize. Mr. Gu, I am so sorry. There are just too many people outside. We are trying our best to disperse them, but please, you and Director Zhao, just wait a moment. No need, I said, straightening my tie, a steely resolve hardening my voice. Open the doors. Let them in. Where is he? The throng of frenzied fans surged into the banquet hall, only to find it empty. He must have known we were coming for him. The coward ran away. If I ever see him on the street, I'll make him regret the day he was born. Hey, look, what's that? The large screen, still displaying the celebratory birthday images, flickered, suddenly switching to a live stream. Qian, who was supposed to be unconscious and rushed to the hospital, was sitting up in a dressing room, casually lighting a cigarette, exhaling a plume of smoke with practiced ease. The fans in the hall exchanged bewildered glances. Didn't Qian say she hated the smell of smoke? Like, she'd gag from secondhand smoke. Maybe it's for a new role? Our Qian is so dedicated, so professional. Her assistant, the one I had originally assigned to her, knelt down to help her put on her high heels. Hiss! Su Qian let out a sharp cry. Clumsy idiot. You're hurting me, you know. The assistant, knowing Su Qian's days of power were over, no longer felt the need to cater to her whims. She had been increasingly venting her own frustrations on the assistant. Without another word, Su Qian extended her leg, lashing out with her foot, connecting squarely with the small assistant's chest. Some of the fans in the hall gasped, hands flying to their mouths in shock. This wasn't the gentle, fragile white flower they idolized. Their delicate goddess was bullying her own assistant, physically assaulting her with a kick. No, a foot. Many of the fans were students or young professionals, working their own demanding jobs. Their initial shock quickly morphed into something else. Disappointment. Anger. If Su Qian doesn't have a good explanation for this, I'm out. Unfollowing. I'm done. Damn it. I went to war for this kind of person. Not worth it. The assistant, tears welling in her eyes, retreated, quietly scooping up the two phones that lay on the table, Su Qian and Chu Yi's phones. In the VIP room behind the banquet hall, I watched the fans' reactions unfold on the screen, a grim satisfaction settling in my heart. It wasn't really their fault. Su Qian's acting skills were just too effective. Tragically, she had reserved her best performances for real life. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been so thoroughly played in my previous life. The live stream continued. Chu Yi stepped into view, seizing Su Qian's ankle, his hand sliding upwards along her leg. What do you think those fans will do to Gu Bei? Su Qian scoffed. Those idiots? They'll probably trash Gu Bei's mother's birthday party. Wouldn't it be even better if they beat them both up? Comments exploded in the chat box. Ha 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 ha. Those fans were just yelling about getting justice for their idol. Did you hear that? She called you idiots. 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 The word idiots, repeated endlessly, flashing across the screen, deflated the righteous anger of the fans in the hall. They were, in their own way, sincere fans, spending their money, their time, their energy to support Su Qian. They had stayed up late at night, manipulating data, unconditionally believing in her, defending her against every rumor. If the earlier video could be dismissed as maliciously edited, what about this live stream? They could accept their idol being imperfect, flawed, human, but they hadn't expected the betrayal to come directly from the source, from the idol herself. Chu Yi's eyes narrowed with venom. Beating them up isn't enough to quench my hatred. Su Qian pulled her leg back. What do you want to do? I'll arrange for someone to infiltrate the fan group. He'll stab Gu Bei a few times in the chaos. Hasn't he always looked down on me? Acted like he's so superior? I'll make sure he dies without even knowing why. Su Qian reached out, her hand stroking his shoulder, her voice softening. Are you still angry about what happened back in university? University? Their hatred for me went back that far? Chu Yi stepped back, slumping into a nearby chair. If I hadn't been broke back then, would I have let you seduce him? A suspicion that had been gnawing at me solidified. Those coincidences, back then, they were orchestrated. I had always assumed Su Qian was the mastermind. It turned out the puppet master was Chu Yi. That idiot, Su Qian sneered, extending her leg again, nudging Chu Yi with her foot. I told him I didn't like physical intimacy, and he actually said he would respect my boundaries. Her lips twisted in a mocking smile. Little did he know, as soon as he left, you bad boy, would always magically appear. Sleeping with his girlfriend in the apartment he paid for. How did that feel? Chu Yi spat. If it wasn't for his resources, do you think I could have tolerated him for this long? Hearing this, Su Qian's eyes lit up. You mentioned director Zhao's new film last time. You said you had connections to get us roles? Is that true? Director Zhao, who had been frowning deeply, staring at the screen in disgust, suddenly perked up at the sound of his name. He straightened in his seat. What's going on? I don't know these two. Chu Yi puffed out his chest, radiating confidence. Don't worry. It's all set with the assistant director. We're both in. This film has a huge budget, aiming for international awards. We'll go places together. Su Qian giggled, nestling against Chu Yi's chest. You're amazing. But, that simp, Gu Bei, has given me so many things over the years. I'd almost feel bad about him dying. Maybe just cripple him instead? Leave him alive, like a dog. Who knows? Maybe he'll still be useful for sending us money and resources. Downstairs, the fans were about to riot. The online viewers watching the live stream were in an uproar. The Weibo trending topics were dominated by scandal, the word explosion even appended to some hashtags. Hashtag Qian Chu Yi plotting murder. Hashtag bullying, insults, cheating, even deceiving fans could potentially be spun, rationalized, forgiven. But plotting murder? Crossing that legal line meant career death, irreversible infamy. The hotel manager, terrified of escalating chaos, frantically summoned every available security guard, ordering them to restrain. The fans who were surging towards the stairs, desperate to confront Qian and Chu Yi, they were quickly herded out of the hotel. Murder. That was a line even the most devoted fans couldn't cross. They walked out, heads bowed, the weight of disillusionment heavy on their shoulders, struggling to reconcile the glamorous idols they had worshipped with the ugly reality they had just witnessed. But when they finally snapped out of their shock, when the scales fully fell from their eyes, the backlash, the blacklisting, the torrent of unearthed dirt would be truly devastating. In the corner of the screen, a figure wearing a baseball cap and a mask appeared. Just a fleeting glimpse, but it was enough to send a jolt of icy terror through me. I couldn't be wrong. That was the man who had thrown sulfuric acid on me, who had driven the car that crushed the life out of me. Qian, noticing my reaction, his eyes widening with concern, asked urgently, "Mr. Gu, is that man? Is there a problem? I can take care of it immediately." "No." I grabbed his arm, the phantom pain of my previous death surging back, a searing inferno. "Don't approach him. That man, he's carrying something dangerous. Call the police. Now." The wail of police sirens finally registered with Qian and Chu Yi. They, in their arrogance, assumed their plan had been executed, that the chaos was the aftermath of my demise. Eager to witness my downfall, they rushed downstairs. They collided head-on with the masked man, who was trying to push his way out of the surging crowd. Chu Yi grabbed his arm, demanding, "Gu Bei? Is he dead?" The masked man, enraged, ripped off his baseball cap, his face contorted with fury. "You tricked me into coming here. To get me arrested by the cops, didn't you?" Qian, still watching the live stream on his phone, confirmed grimly. "Mr. Gu, I recognize that face. That man, he looks like a wanted criminal. On the news." Chu Yi, his face flushing with panicked anger, blocked the man's path. "Hey, you were supposed to help me kill Gu Bei. You took a huge sum of money. You can't just run now without doing anything." The masked man took 2 steps back, his eyes darting around, listening to the approaching sirens, his face etched with desperation. "Get out of my way now." Chu Yi stood firm. "Give me back the money, and I'll let you go." The masked man sneered. "I've never been threatened by anyone in my life." With a swift, jerky motion, he produced a canister of liquid. My heart leaped into my throat. That was it. That deadly substance. "Chu Yi, watch out." Qian, propelled by a misguided impulse to protect Chu Yi, threw herself forward, intending to shield him from the attack. But it was too late. The liquid sprayed out, some of it splashing onto Chu Yi's face, some arcing over to strike Qian's back as she lunged in front of him. "Aya!" Both of them screamed, their faces and backs contorted in agony, the acrid smell of burning flesh filling the air. "Call an ambulance." Now, the masked man, attempting to flee through the banquet hall doors, was forced back by the incoming wave of police officers. He raised his hands in surrender, but not before shooting a final, venomous glare at the writhing, screaming Chu Yi. A figure in uniform strode into the hall, his voice booming. "Police, don't move." The incident became a major scandal, a media-feeding frenzy. The world learned that Chu Yi had a fugitive brother, a man with a long criminal record and 2 murders already under his belt. And the stalker? He was Qian's former boyfriend, a generous, naive fool who had been systematically exploited and nearly destroyed. Director Zhao, who had witnessed the entire debacle, was apoplectic with rage. He issued a formal ban, blacklisting both Chu Yi and Qian from his projects and, implicitly, from the entire industry. But even without his decree, their careers were over. More devastatingly, their carefully cultivated public images, and even their physical appearances, were irrevocably ruined. My mother learned of everything while on her cruise. Facing her tearful concern, I reassured her gently. "It's all over now, Mom. Just enjoy your trip." Next year, for your birthday, your son will throw an even bigger celebration. I threw myself into work, immersing myself in the demanding rhythm of Gu Corporation, losing myself in the relentless tide of deadlines and decisions. Until Qian knocked on my office door, an unusual hesitancy in his demeanor, telling me I had a visitor. I looked at his vaguely troubled expression, a question forming in my mind. Who is it? It's Su Qian. I saw Su Qian again. She was shrouded in black, head to toe, as if terrified of being recognized. The moment she saw me, tears streamed down her face. Gubei, please forgive me. She sank to her knees before my desk, her voice a broken whisper. I hadn't actively followed her news, but the whispers of her downfall had reached me nonetheless. Chu Yi, disfigured and bitter, had become physically abusive. Her image shattered, her career in ruins, all doors in the entertainment industry slammed shut. The legions of fans who had sworn eternal devotion had long since moved on, chasing the next fleeting idol. A faded, damaged traffic flower, stripped of resources, connections, and even her beauty, she was now a forgotten relic, a ghost of her former self. It was all my fault. I was blind, foolish to trust Chu Yi, she sobbed, frantically pulling back her sleeve, revealing a patchwork of angry purple bruises marring her arm. Look, he hits me. Doesn't it hurt you to see me like this? My heart remained unmoved, a cold, empty space where affection once bloomed. In the past, a minor paper cut on her finger, a tiny blister on her heel, would have sent me spiraling into paroxysms of concern, costing me sleepless nights, leading me to obsessively cater to her every need. I had worried about her cramps, spent entire nights massaging her lower abdomen, researching the best pain relief methods, brewing soothing teas, anticipating every whimper, every sigh. But all of that, all of my devotion, my tenderness, my unwavering care, had become weapons in her arsenal, ammunition to be used against me. If you never truly loved me, I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion, why are you here now, putting on this pathetic act? No, I did love you. Su Qian crawled forward on her knees, reaching out, clutching at my legs, her tears soaking into my expensive trousers. In the beginning, yes, I admit it, I approached you with an agenda. But you were so good to me, so kind. I was touched, moved. I don't know when it happened, but I fell deeply in love with you. I recoiled, kicking her hands away with a sharp, dismissive gesture. But you were also perfectly happy to plot my murder with Chu Yi. No, that was just a moment of anger, of impulse. I didn't mean it. I didn't want you to die, she sobbed, scrambling back towards me, her voice rising in desperation. I couldn't stand being your gilded cage bird, living under your shadow, always dependent on you. I wanted to prove myself, to become a star on my own merit. Is that so? I asked, my voice laced with icy sarcasm. Then what brings you here today? Su Qian faltered, momentarily silenced. Then, she resumed her desperate plea, her voice cracking with forced sincerity. Gubei, please, help me again. I know you have so many resources, so many connections. You know directors, producers. Please, just put in a good word for me. Ask them to reconsider me. My face isn't damaged. I can still act. She fumbled with the buttons of her black coat, pulling it open, revealing the flimsy dress beneath, her voice dropping to a husky whisper. What do you want? Anything. I'll give you anything. Didn't your mother say you were planning to propose to me? Gubei, I'm willing. I'm willing to marry you. But I am not willing. My voice was cold, unwavering, final. I stood up, towering over her kneeling form, looking down at her with detached disdain. In the past, hearing those words, I'm willing, would have been my ultimate dream, my heart's desire fulfilled. I had even meticulously planned our honeymoon, envisioned our future together. But that naive, love-struck boy was dead, murdered by her own hand. I heard myself speak, the words resonating with a chilling finality. Because you are not worthy. Su Qian collapsed onto the floor, as if all the fight, all the desperation, had drained out of her, leaving her a hollow shell. I called my secretary. Qian, have her removed. No, wait. Su Qian shrieked, her voice rising in a final, desperate cry. Gubei, I love you. I truly, really love you. A security guard efficiently stuffed a crumpled cloth into her mouth, silencing her pleas. Silence descended, a blessed, profound silence. Director Zhao's film premiere arrived. and I received a special invitation. The post-production for this film was incredibly expensive. Many investors pulled out halfway through. Fortunately, Gu Corporation stood by us, unwavering. The director, a man in his 50s, his face etched with years of dedication and struggle, grasped my hand, his voice thick with emotion as he recounted the arduous journey to bring his dream to life. I patted his shoulder, a genuine smile touching my lips. After hardship comes sweetness. The initial reviews are excellent. Gu Corporation will always support those with dreams. Director Zhao chuckled, a relieved, grateful sound. He insisted on introducing me to someone, pulling me towards a small group gathered nearby. Speaking of dreams, you just might be the guardian of another one here. A pair of slender, elegant hands extended towards me, soft and cool to the touch. Hello, Gubei. I'm Xiacheng. Long time no see. Xiacheng. I searched my memory, sifting through the dusty archives of my childhood. The name, it sounded familiar. Wasn't she the girl my family had arranged for a potential marriage alliance when we were children? She had moved abroad for school and middle school, and we had lost touch completely. I looked at her, really looked at her for the first time in years. She was radiant, luminous, her star-bright eyes, with their distinctive upward tilt, sparkling with intelligence and warmth. Slowly, the hazy image of a child from long ago coalesced with the stunning woman before me. A smile bloomed on my face. I took her hand, her soft fingers fitting perfectly into mine. Yes, I said, my voice warm with genuine pleasure. It has been far too long. The end.